Logan Simpson, captain of the TF Indomitable, watched the battle unfold from his command chair, the view screen filled with the chaotic dance of ships and explosions. His mind raced. "We've grossly underestimated them," he murmured. As if to punctuate his words, the lead dreadnought opened fire. Its massive energy cannons raked across the human formation, beams searing through shields and hull plating like paper. The Indomitable heaved as a beam grazed its flank, alarms blaring across the bridge. Consoles exploded in showers of sparks, crew members hurled from their stations. "Shields down to 30%. Kay shouted over the cacophony. "Hull breaches on decks 5 through 12. On the view screen, Logan watched in horror as human ships were vaporized, reduced to expanding clouds of debris in an instant. Others were left drifting, hulls blackened and holed, leaking atmosphere and bodies. They couldn't withstand this onslaught, not for long. They needed a plan, a miracle, and they needed it now. "Commander Reeves!" Logan yelled, struggling to make himself heard over the din of battle. "That lead dreadnought, it's our primary target. We need to take it out, or at least stall it long enough for the fleet to regroup. Give me options, now." Reeves, his face ashen but determined, hunched over the tactical display, his fingers flying over the controls. "Sir, there might be one option," he said after a moment, his voice strained. "The Theta protocols, there's one we haven't used yet." Logan's eyebrows shot up. The Theta arsenal had already proven itself to be beyond anything the Kren had anticipated. If there was something more. "I'm listening," he said. "It's a focused gravity well projector," Reeves explained, bringing up a schematic on the display. "Highly experimental. In theory, it could create a localized singularity, a miniature black hole." Logan's breath caught in his throat as he grasped the implications. A black hole, however small, would create gravitational forces of unimaginable intensity. Any ship caught in its vicinity would be torn apart, ripped into its component atoms. "It could work," he murmured, a glimmer of hope kindling in his chest. "A weapon like that could take out a dreadnought." "More than that, sir," Reeves said. "If we could lure their fleet, or even a significant portion of it, into the singularity's radius." He didn't need to finish. The devastating potential was clear, but so too were the risks. "I'm sensing a but here, Commander," Logan said. Reeves nodded gravely. "The projector is untested. There's a risk, a significant risk, that the singularity could destabilize. If that happens..." Logan's jaw clenched as he completed the unspoken thought. An unstable singularity would grow unchecked, all-consuming. It wouldn't just destroy the Kren fleet, it would devour the Amper system and anything else unfortunate enough to be in its path. It was a staggering gamble, the fate of billions balanced on the knife's edge of an untested weapon. But as the Indomitable shuddered under another direct hit, as more human ships winked out on the tactical display, Logan knew they had no choice. They were out of options, out of time. "Prepare the gravity well projector," he ordered, his voice hard as steel. "And plot a course. We're going to lure that dreadnought and as much of the Kren fleet as we can into the singularity's range." He met Reeves's eyes, saw the understanding and the fear in their depths. This was it, the moment of truth. "One way or another," Logan said softly, "we end this here and now." Reeves nodded sharply, turning to relay the orders. Logan settled back into his command chair, his fingers tightening on the armrests. The Indomitable surged forward, engines straining as it plowed through the debris field, straight towards the looming behemoth of the Kren dreadnought. Around it, the remnants of the human fleet formed up, a phalanx of battered but unbroken warriors. They were the tip of the spear, the vanguard of humanity's last desperate charge. As the dreadnought swelled in the view screen, as the brightness of its energy cannons charging filled the bridge, Logan felt a strange calm descend over him. Live or die, they would face the Kren as humans always had, unbowed, unbroken, defiant to the last. The gravity well projector thrummed to life, its power building to a crescendo. Logan's hand hovered over the firing control, his eyes locked on the dreadnought. "To the end," he whispered, an oath and a prayer in one. "To the very end." With a final, defiant roar, the Indomitable plunged headlong into the maelstrom. Logan's hand hovered over the control panel, ready to cut the transmission at the first sign of treachery, but morbid curiosity stayed his hand. He had to know what drove the Kren to this relentless aggression. The figure that materialized on the view screen was a nightmarish fusion of man and machine. Elaborate armor encased a form that seemed more cybernetic than biological, with glowing optics where eyes should be. When it spoke, its voice reverberated with a metallic echo. "Captain Simpson, I am Warlord Kayaks of the Kren Dominion. Your ships have proven unexpectedly formidable, but you must see the futility of your defiance. Surrender, and your lives will be spared." Logan's fingers tightened on the armrest, his jaw clenching. "Warlord Kayaks, you seem to know much about us, yet we know little of you. Why attack the Amper? What do you seek to gain?" Kayaks's laughter grated like rusted gears. "Humans, ever curious. Very well, I shall indulge you. The Amper are but a means to an end. It is you, humanity, who are our true quarry. But why? What have we done to earn your enmity?" "It is not what you have done, but what you will do," Kayaks intoned. "We have glimpsed your future, Captain. The empire you will forge, the worlds you will subjugate. The Kren Dominion cannot allow this to pass. We will end you here, before you become a threat." Logan reeled, the warlord's words striking like physical blows. The future Kayaks described was anathema to everything he believed, everything humanity stood for. "You're wrong," he ground out. "That's not who we are. We're not conquerors or tyrants. We only want to live in peace." "Peace?" Kayaks spat the word like a curse. "There can be no peace with a race as dangerous as yours. You will expand, consume, destroy, it is your nature. The only peace is the peace of the grave." The screen went dark, leaving Logan in stunned silence. The Kren's motives were clear now, but they defied reason. Could humanity truly become the nightmare empire Kayaks foretold? The thought chilled him to the core, but it changed nothing. They still had a battle to win. "Commander Reeves," Logan said grimly, "ready the gravity well projector. It's time to finish this." Reeves nodded sharply, his fingers flying over the console. "Aye, sir. Projector charging, ready to fire on your command." Logan's gaze locked on the tactical display, on the pulsing red icon of the Kren dreadnought, the ship that had butchered his fleet, that sought to exterminate his entire species based on some twisted vision of the future. No more. No further. This ends here, one way or another. Fire. The Indomitable shuddered as the gravity well projector unleashed its power. For a heartbeat, nothing seemed to happen. Then space itself seemed to convulse and contort as the artificial singularity blossomed into existence, a perfect black sphere ringed by a maelstrom of warped starlight. Alarms screamed as the singularity's pull seized the Indomitable, dragging it inexorably towards the roiling event horizon. Logan clung to his chair, fighting to remain upright as the deck pitched beneath him. On the view screen, he saw the Kren ships caught in the same inexorable grasp. Cruisers and battleships alike spun helplessly, their hulls groaning and buckling under the immense tidal forces. Escape pods and shuttles streaked from the doomed vessels, only to be swallowed by the hungry void. At the center of it all, the Kren dreadnought struggled against the pull, its engines flaring with desperate brilliance. For a moment, it seemed as if the mammoth ship might break free. But then, with a soundless scream of tortured metal, the dreadnought came apart, shattered into a million fragments whirling into the abyss like leaves in a storm. Logan watched the carnage unfold, his heart pounding, his breath coming in ragged gasps. They'd done it. Against all odds, they'd done it. The Kren fleet was broken, their dreadnought destroyed. The Amper was safe. But even as relief washed over him, Logan couldn't shake the icy dread that gripped his heart. Kayaks's final words echoed in his mind, a chilling prophecy of a dark future. Was this truly a victory, or just the first shot in a war that would span centuries, a war that would see humanity become the very thing they fought against? Logan had no answers, only questions. And as the singularity slowly began to stabilize, its voracious hunger finally sated, he knew one thing for certain. Whatever the future held, whatever challenges lay ahead, humanity would face them together. Unbowed, unbroken, and forever defiant.